Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to SBO Community Call. Today is 10th March 2022. Okay, let's see what the agenda for today is. I think we have an announcement telling that the spec for Kubernetes 1.0 is released. And I think that's pretty good to hear about. I think we can go ahead with the discussion now. Baiju, you have a discussion of SBO compliance with spec.
Okay, so I think this is mostly internal people, but yeah, I hope everyone must be noticed that 1.0 already is already exists. So, and that comes with the API change, that is V1 beta 1. In fact, it is just the version change. The internet schema is not changed. V1 alpha 3 is exactly same as V1 beta 1. Uh, just the version got upgraded to V1 beta 1 to indicate uh, this is now onward stable. Okay. So beta API, there won't be any removal, but in alpha scenario, it was possible to remove any attributes or anything. But going forward, they will spec is going to going to be completely backward compatible. Any change that is going to be introduced will be backward compatible. Maybe in future, at some point of time, this V1 beta 1 will be changed to V1 after maybe, I don't know, some more feedback. So I think it should be very pretty straightforward for us to support this V1 beta 1 API change in our SPO implementation. And whether we should keep V1 alpha 3, that's something that we need to have a discussion. In my opinion, I don't see any necessity because we only told that SPO this tech API as a what is a tech preview, right? So I think there is no we have clearly mentioned, I think in our release notes everywhere, that there won't be any backward compatibility. So I think it is safe to remove V1 alpha 3, but there is no harm in keeping it there also. So yeah, unless there is any no
If,
problem, I think I'm okay to remove also. Yeah. Anyone
if
has
I
any
if I
that?
if I may, from the past experience where we were updating the V1 Alpha 1 to V1 Alpha 3, there were some problems in the Dev Sandbox. I understand that we are still in tech preview for the spec, but there were problems while upgrading the SBO in between versions where what when we updated the version there, which also upgraded the spec version, the problem was that those service binding resources created, I mean those spec ones created in the cluster,
Uh,
were marked with the finalizer, and the new SBO wasn't able to recognize them and clear them basically. So they stayed there as zombies, and it since they have the finalizer, the namespace of those users could not be deleted, and that caused problems. And the Dev Sandbox is pretty huge deployment of a cluster. There is like 4,000 namespaces, like for 2,000 users, and it was well, it caused problems. So we need to be careful. Technically it's simple. Just rename the versions everywhere we use and just release a new version. But we need to take into consideration also these things.
okay.
So we need to ensure that the upgrade path is also safe.
Okay, so then I think we have two choices. Either we can provide we can retain V1 alpha 3 and we can keep both. So that means there won't be an issue. Or we can provide a automatic migration webhook to do this conversion, which is also possible. So, okay.
Well, if you can do that, I think it would be ideal situation, right?
Yeah. But okay, but which one we should go? Should we keep both, or should we do this kind of webhook, migration through webhook.
David, you are on mute.
Yes, at some point, we don't want to support alpha, right? Let's say it moves from beta to V1, right? So, I mean, I'm okay supporting one version behind, right? Basically, we support both. But at this point, we support both alpha and beta, right?
Yeah.
Right,
But once we move to V1, then we have to get rid of alpha at that point. So it's good to start thinking about the mechanisms to do the migration. So if we can start thinking that early, then when we get to that V1 step, then we're set.
Okay. There is a related comment. Maybe that should be interesting to read at this point. Who's sharing the, Finn, you're sharing screen, right? Okay.
Yes, yes.
I just pasted a link. Can you go there, navigate, and there is a PR in the chat.
All
There
right.
is a link. So I think there is a discussion came up. The latest PR, go to pull request. There is a same thing. Use V1 beta 1 API. This is in the service binding controller. So Scott sent this PR, and I raised the same question. Can you scroll down? There is a comment from my. You can't see a comment free. No, not that one from Raichu.
But this
Yeah,
is a reference implementation, right?
Yeah, this is a reference implementation. It's
Okay.
not even raised. So my question was that I would prefer. Okay, I can't see it. Read it. Can you zoom in? Yeah, I would prefer to drop even alpha as we haven't made any release. But his response was that there's no extra work to support it. There are users of V1 Alpha 3 API. Maybe our implementation or their own private implementation or any. So while the alpha status of the API means we don't have to forward compatibility or migration path, it's good habit to foster. Yeah, so that is his take on that. So
As I'm interested in knowing why, because a version change means fields can change in the resource, right?
you see, this is basically objects that is
So-
persistent in the database, right? In etcd. So that means that's what Pavel was pointing out earlier. That means it will become zombies if you simply remove V1 alpha 3.
Okay, I'm not understanding. I'm
So
not
we
understanding the
need to hold a
problem then.
migration.
So I think we're talking about
Okay.
resources move from version to version, right?
Yeah,
Until they get
resources-
promoted to V1 now, eventually V2, right? When Kubernetes moves.
Yeah, we are talking about API version upgradation. That means these are objects that is persistent in some database that also need to be migrated using some migration. Usually people use webhooks to do this kind of migration, and that should be provided. If not, we should retain V1 Alpha 3 for some more time until we have that migration in place.
Wait, let me get with you offline because I'm still not understanding the problem.
Yeah.
Or maybe I need to understand the etcd what he's doing. So
Okay. I haven't done any real migration stuff so far, but this is all something that I read and understood. Pavel, do you have any insight on that?
No, I haven't done any migration. I don't even understand how it works in the inside. Just have this experience of as a user, right?
yeah. For example, in samples operator, all the samples are getting moved from whatever version to the new version that is scope. Is that the same issue? For example, instead of saying V1, they wanted to say the specific group V1. You know what I mean? So they're being more. So the version is more scope, and then I think that's going to get deprecated eventually. You cannot just say V1 anymore, right? You have to say of which group, right? V1 of which group.
But if you go for this approach, I mean, retaining V1 Alpha 3 we don't need to do any extra work. It is just a matter of introducing that, like in this PR, what he's doing. Maybe if you just open that content.
Yeah, let me take a look at that
file.
PR. Yeah. Let me take a look at that PR, see if I understand that.
Files you want to check?
Yes, yes. Files change. So you can see that he's adding. Okay, there are a few other changes that you can ignore. Scroll down. Yeah, see here under the APIs directory, everywhere he must be adding that changing. Scroll down. Yeah, the types. Yeah, so
Yeah,
should be,
package,
yeah,
right?
package he changed like this. So, but the old one will be still hanging around. That's my. So this is a new package. Sorry,
Yeah, everywhere is
V1
changing.
beta 1.
Even
Okay, but that would not
Be a
affect
problem in this
the
case. Yeah.
existing resources in a clusters, right? The instances of those. So we need a mechanism. Either it is automated or just providing a script for the cluster admins to run, so that it does so for them.
Yeah.
We need a way how to migrate existing resources from the old API to the new one.
To the new API, right?
Once
And
we
then-
get
and that- and that's
that
not
I
the
think-
simple version change, if what you're saying.
No,
That's
no,
not all right.
Well, in this case, it is, but in general, no.
Right.
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 In general, some things can be. Well, it shouldn't in the version beta and plus, and later, but there might be bugs or something. But anyway, we need a way to migrate resources, existing resources, to a new version of API. If we got that, then we are pretty close to claiming that we have the upgrade capability, right? One of the 5 that we want to achieve eventually, right?
Is there a big difference between the alpha and a beta?
No difference.
No
It's
difference
just
at all?
No difference. It's practically the same thing.
So that migration is nothing. It's not giving me anything. We can support both, basically.
Yeah, that's what.
That's not a big deal.
But we need to face this eventually, right?
We will need to face it eventually when we do have a breaking change between the versions, right? Where I don't want to keep code. I don't want to keep code that keeps track of 2 things,
David,
So
it's not a matter of breaking changes. The problem will still be there even if we just change the version itself without actually changing the API, because the SBO works. SBO is responsible for cleaning finalizers on the things, on the resources that it manages, right? But it's only responsible for those who it watches, right?
Right.
And if we just remove it, right? This is the first case. If you just change the API number, even if it is exactly the same API, it would not recognize those old. It would just ignore them and wouldn't clean them up. Wouldn't remove the finalizers as it is.
Unless SBO watches for both, then. So
yeah, of course.
we need to change the code.
That's another solution. Just need to watch for those, but that might potentially influence performance, because it needs to watch for more things. But I don't think that's a big deal, because those are the resources anyway. So I believe the way to migrate those resources is the best way to do it.
Okay. Yeah, we could decide either way. I think it's easy to support both now. Is what my point, because it's the same. So it's easy to support both. So it's not a big deal. Now, eventually, like I said, eventually it'll become a big deal, because then it won't be easy to support both or 3 or 4, right? So we need to eventually break the chain and say, yes, we need a migration. If we want to work on the migration now, it's easy to do, because we have to actually map actual fields. Then let's think about it. Yeah.
So that we can do it through webhooks. That way, no need to ask that cluster admin to do any special task. Yeah,
I like that. Yeah.
I think that's my topic. I don't have anything else to add there. So maybe we can create a story. I don't know what epic we can use, and then work on this. Maybe post the other PRs. I mean, workload resource mapping PR or something.
Okay. All right. I think I was seeing issues on our service binding operator. This is something like I already see Andy and YG has replied. Do you think like we need discussion onto this?
It could be
This
good to
call?
review the response back to make sure that the team understands it, right? I think it could be a good benefit if the team agrees.
I agree.
All right.
About what was that?
And
other thing?
is there any is there any pending one that we haven't triaged?
I think this was the one with Karthik already opened up for the single namespace that was already done. Before that, I mean, all the other things we have already done it. For this
Okay.
Opstree Redis one, I think the person already joined our call, and I think we already, gave an answer like what
Okay.
how we are working. So I think the rest of them are already done. This was the new one, I think. And, we can.
That
check
was
this.
open 6 days ago, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I think what this person is telling is.
What was the problem? Why do we think that we solved this? Let's see.
Maybe does it make sense for Andy to kind of give a quick overview in terms of what Michael is having or what Michael's question is about?
Right.
Yeah. And you can you explain?
Oh, so they want AMQP to be display as opposed to
Yes.
RabbitMQ. Okay.
Basically, the main thrust of this issue is what you, David, were talking about I think sometime last week. How do we expose multiple endpoints for a service? He would like to talk via both AMQP and MQTT, and he'd like to be able to specify which one he wants to talk via using the type field.
Mhm.
I told him, as it stands right now, we just basically hand off the type field straight from RabbitMQ, and so the long term solution here is go plug RabbitMQ and tell them go fix your crap. In the meantime, I told him you can go override type fields.
So is this an annotated CR or this is a
Nope.
or this is
Nope.
a out of the box?
RabbitMQ is one of the few that we can do
Out of the
provision
box?
service on.
Oh,
Yeah, I gave him annotation because it looked like he was using the Chorus API.
so RabbitMQ is using a provision resource then today?
Yes.
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 Okay, good.
They were
By
one
the
of
way,
the
this
first
is
to do it.
from this is from VMware, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay,
VMware
then they
maintains it.
need to right. So they need to provide the right types then. Well, it's up to them, right?
Okay, there is one more way. My comment. Just scroll down. That's another way to override. You can do it in the service binding resource itself. You can provide the values for type and provider.
Provider 2.
Yeah. Both type as well as provider you can override. But
I mean, but
And this works.
what's the data he gets? Does he get data to be able to connect via AMQP or no? I mean,
I think that's about the application, what he expects, right? It's all about how his application is behaving, what is the expected value from there. So he's looking for, I think, application side, he's looking for MQP as the value. So
right. But I mean, I agree with that because AMQP is a protocol. There might be multiple providers that support it, right? And then eventually, I, as an application, don't care whether it's Rabbit or some other provider, right? Or whether it's VMware or Red Hat. I just care about I want to do AMQP and give me a topic I can connect to, right? So I can send and I can subscribe to it. So I agree with that, but I think the last conversation we had with the VMware guys, they said they could just go and say, Rabbit, and then underneath they can have information about all the protocols about Rabbit, right?
Yes.
So they do a little bit different, basically, right?
I was going to mention something in my response about that. However, I did some digging around in their operator. It doesn't look like this is public functionality. Or at least, at the very least, I didn't see any reference to it. So this might just be a VMware internal thing that they were
Yeah.
talking about.
But they should be able to see it, right? They're already binding. They should be able to see the secret bound to them, and they should be able to see
No,
the fields.
sorry,
No?
I was talking about that that multiple resource provision resource solution that we were talking about at the spec last week.
Right.
That I haven't seen. I don't think
You have
I'm
not
not
seen
entirely sure that's I don't think it's public yet.
Okay.
I was going to mention that it was a thing, but since I didn't see it public, I decided not to.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Well, this is public too. We're mentioning it here. Okay. So what do we do in that case then? Is there anything that we should do to help this customer?
I don't know, honestly.
I mean, other than we
the-
agree the protocol should be the thing, but it depends on the service what they want to expose. So
the only unresolved part here is that RabbitMQ should maybe expose the protocol you're using and its type field. Should be punted to RabbitMQ. This isn't necessarily an issue for us.
correct, I agree.
Yeah, I think
Unless we were the ones enabling the service, but we're not enabling
not.
the service. Okay.
Because it's provision service. We can
Mhm.
we were just handing off what Rabbit was telling us to hand off.
Also,
So maybe do they have a community? Does the Rabbit operator has a community, and then we can just point into that?
it's a GitHub project, so probably we could add an issue there and ask.
Well, I don't think we have to. I mean, if he's concerned about what Rabbit exposes, then we should point him to where he can write a case, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think we should be in the business of writing cases for everyone.
Right.
But I think, I mean, just from a philosophy point of view, it's good that we say, hey, we're on the same page. I think eventually that's where we want to go, right? Where protocol is what matters, connection endpoints is what matters, not vendors or technology names, right? Those are brand. I don't care. Like the same thing we were talking about the other day, Baju. I don't care if it's Maria or MySQL DB. I'm talking the same language, right? From a client point of view, it's the same.
Right.
So I don't want to have a distinction between Maria and MySQL, because in production, you might want to go MySQL because it's a licensed thing that you get support. But locally, I want to do Maria, to test.
Yeah.
Right?
And interestingly, I noticed even the Cockroach DB, actually it is nothing but PostgreSQL from a can keep it PostgreSQL at the type because it understands PostgreSQL protocol.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. I think we discussed quite a bit this one.
Okay. I think then, this is already sufficient, right? Do we need to add something over here? Just point it to...
I point him to RabbitMQ because they already have a provision service. We didn't enable the service. So let's talk to the people that enable that service and give them the case. And then maybe they can discuss this business about multiple protocols within the same data set,
Mhm.
And then because they have the information. So
Okay.
all right.
All right. David, like you wanted to talk about label selector support?
We don't have
Oh.
time. Sorry.
Next time.
Yeah, next time we'll
Okay.
talk about it next meeting. Well, we gotta
And
drop.
yeah, and just a note, included a update to the Keycloak story issue, I should say, 1083. It looks like somebody created a sample for this. So please take a look. It'll be good to discuss this in our maybe next community call,
Sure.
All right.
just to understand
Okay.
that. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you all. I'll stop the recording.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.